Welcome to the DSM Board of Directors. Your appointment to the board has been approved by the Minister of Health based on your ability to contribute significantly to our mission. We welcome your professional expertise, experience, and personal qualities to the DSM Board of Directors. As a new board member, you will be provided with a governance manual that contains information in more detail. You are encouraged to learn as much as possible about DSM and to become fully involved in its governance. Diagnostic Services of Manitoba, known as DSM, is a not-for-profit organization under the Corporation Act. DSM was created in 2002 to meet the challenges of increasing demand for diagnostic services and technological innovation, growing expectations for quality control and standardization, the need for information management, and a growing shortage of skilled technical, medical, and scientific staff. DSM is responsible for providing public laboratory services throughout the province and diagnostic imaging services in rural Manitoba. Our vision is to create a patient-first environment that provides quality laboratory and diagnostic imaging services supporting the healthcare needs of all Manitobans. Our mission is to assume a provincial leadership role in medical laboratory and medical imaging services for the province of Manitoba. Our value statement is to be committed to patient-centered care and the provision of innovative and collaborative diagnostic services with integrity and accountability. DSM is proud to be the leading provider of public laboratory and rural diagnostic imaging services across Manitoba. Vital tests are conducted every day, and DSM plays a very important role in diagnosing patient concerns so physicians can determine the best course of treatment. DSM's corporate office is in Winnipeg. Corporate staff and more than 70 laboratory and diagnostic imaging sites are located across our province within the boundaries and facilities of Manitoba's regional health authorities. These sites work hand in hand with regional health authorities to deliver frontline health care to patients. DSM has approximately 1,600 employees across the province, with half in Winnipeg and half spread across rural Manitoba and Brandon. The size of DSM sites range from 1 to 2 staff to the largest with 325 staff. In smaller sites, staff are cross-trained to provide more services. The majority of DSM staff belong to one of our 5 unions or associations: Doctors Manitoba, Manitoba Association of Healthcare Professionals, Manitoba Government Employees Union, United Food and Commercial Workers, and Canadian Union of Public Employees. Diagnostic services are performed primarily in facilities which are operated by the 5 regional health authorities. DSM is a separate organization from regional health authorities, and we encourage our employees to feel a sense of connection to both organizations and to become positive DSM ambassadors and participate in their site activities and experiences. DSM's #1 priority is quality. Diagnostic discipline teams provide expertise in all of our testing disciplines. They guide service delivery based on best practice, research and emerging trends, and technology. The discipline teams drive quality, standardization, and continuous improvements initiatives and are a provincial resource for all DSM sites across Manitoba. They are biochemistry and genetics, clinical microbiology, diagnostic imaging, hematology, immunology, transfusion medicine, and pathology. DSM operates under the direction of a board of directors, which in turn is accountable to our sole shareholder, the Minister of Health. The board has ultimate accountability for the performance of the entire organization. The board is comprised of representatives from a broad spectrum of regions, interests, professions, and expertise from within the province of Manitoba. Board members carry out their mandate in 3 main ways: provide linkage with stakeholders, act as ambassadors for DSM, and advance the objectives of DSM at the request of the board within their area of influence. The board is responsible to the residents of Manitoba to see that DSM achieves appropriate results for appropriate persons at an appropriate cost and avoids unacceptable actions and situations. In addition to the Minister of Health, stakeholders of DSM include regional health authorities and Cancer Care Manitoba, with whom we operate with and have funding agreements, educational institutions that include universities and colleges and other institutes who produce the future human resource base for DSM, as well as professional development for current staff members. DSM Workforce. It is essential that DSM has a strong workforce of people who are proud of their work, are accountable, and are recognized, respected, and rewarded. Others. Other groups may include, but are not limited to, advisory councils, professional bodies, non-governmental organizations, individuals who contribute to the healthcare system. Board responsibilities to DSM are to act as a source of advice and collective wisdom for DSM, ensure the provision of explicit governing policies for DSM, ensure quality performance by DSM, ensure that DSM operates on a sound financial basis. The board is accountable to the Minister of Health to meet its mandate and responsibilities. The Chief Executive Officer manages all aspects of DSM's business and affairs, carries out strategic and business plans, achieves established goals and objectives, and reports regularly on progress to the board and its committees. Among the board's responsibilities is overseeing the implementation of our health plan, allocation of funds, and our compliance with provincial legislation. The annual health plan is a document submitted to Manitoba Health that clearly articulates our organization's funding requirements. DSM works closely with Manitoba Health throughout the year to ensure that they are kept in the loop in order to facilitate advanced planning. Board members hold a fiduciary responsibility for the management of DSM's funds and are ultimately responsible for the solvency of the organization. Liability insurance for board members is held with the Health Insurance Reciprocal of Canada, or HIROC. A summary of this coverage is included in your board manual. The board oversees the business conduct of DSM and the activities of management. The board's fundamental objective is to ensure that DSM meets its obligations on an ongoing basis and operates in a safe, efficient, and reliable manner. Its responsibilities include reviewing, adjusting, and approving the strategic plan, operating budgets, and capital expenditures, maintaining the integrity of internal controls and information systems, and planning for board and management succession. The board also ensures compliance with regulatory processes, including the Regional Health Authorities Amendment Act, the Personal Health Information Act, and the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. The board meets at least 10 times a year and is conducted according to bylaws. All board members are expected to actively participate in the board meetings. To fulfill this requirement, board members are expected to review the agenda and related material in advance of each meeting, attend meetings of the boards and committees to which he or she may be appointed, be ready before the meeting to discuss business in a prepared and knowledgeable way, vote unless excluded by reason of conflict of interest or other prohibition on matters that come before the meeting. Minutes are posted monthly on the DSM website. All board members are obligated to respect the confidentiality of matters brought before the board or before any committee of the board in camera or sent to the member on a confidential basis. It may not be communicated to any person not entitled by law to that information. As a new board member, and from time to time, you will be asked to disclose any potential conflicts of interest and will be required to sign a conflict of interest form at the commencement of your term. Further information on the requirement and purpose of this request can be found in Section 3.2.1, Conflict of Interest, in your governance manual. Once signed, these forms should be returned to the board secretary, marked confidential. All board members are responsible for protecting the security of all personal health information, oral or recorded in any form, that is obtained, handled, learned, heard, or viewed in the course of your work on the board. You will be required to complete a pledge of confidentiality as a condition of your appointment to the board. Further information on this requirement and purpose of this request can be found in Section 3.2.2 of your governance manual. Once signed, this form should be returned to the board secretary, marked confidential. DSM believes that staff and others associated with DSM are entitled to a respectful workplace. This means a work environment that supports productivity, personal goals, and the dignity and the self-esteem of every person. This applies to activities on our premises, sanctioned conferences, training seminars, travel, business and social events, and in our everyday communications and interaction with our healthcare partners. DSM takes all complaints seriously. Maintaining a respectful workplace is everyone's responsibility. With more than 1,600 employees spread across our province, the DSM webpage is used to communicate information to our patients, physicians, and other non-DSM healthcare providers, external key stakeholders, and the media. It can be located at dsmanitoba.ca. Thank you for taking the time to watch the DSM Board of Directors video. If you have any further questions about your new duties as a member of the board, feel free to contact the board chair or your fellow board members. Welcome to the DSM team and good luck with your new appointment.